Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So happy new month to everybody, to everyone. I don't know when you'll be watching this video, but I made this video on the 1st of December, so that's why I am wishing every one of you a happy new month. So for this tutorial, the first thing I usually do for this gather is to cut out the lower, or let's say the skirt part of this gather, of this gown. So what I'm going to be doing is to place my tape at my half length. My half length is 8 inches, so this is for a 2 to 3 year old. So I'll place my tape at 8 inches, and then I'm going to go ahead and measure the length of the gown. The length of the gown is 22 inches, so I'll mark 22 inches here. Then I'll add in 1.5 inches stitching allowance, so half inch is to join the skirt part to the half bodice, and then the 1 inch is to hem it. So I'll add 1.5 inches stitching allowance, and then I'll go ahead and connect this line straight. So this is for the skirt part, so I'll go ahead and cut it out, and then we go over to the bodice. Okay guys, we're going to go ahead and cut our bodice. I've gone ahead to fold my fabric into two. I wanted to cut the back and the front together, but on the second thought I decided to cut it separately. So I'll go ahead and mark our starting point here, and I'll be adding the shoulder stitching allowance here, so that's why I always mark this. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to mark my half length, which is at 8 inches, just like I mentioned earlier. So 8 inches, and then I'll add half inch stitching allowance to it to join the skirt part of this gown. If you haven't subscribed up to this moment, please take 1 minute to hit on the subscribe button, join the family, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you find value in this video. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to mark my shoulder measurement, which is 4 inches, and then I'll add half inch stitching allowance to it. So this shoulder measurement, I want to come in by half of an inch. So my shoulder measurement is 8 inches, which is 4 inches, then half inch stitching allowance. But instead of marking at 4.5 inches, I'm marking at 4 inches for this. So I'm going to come in by half inch because of the staff. I don't want it to fall off the shoulder. I hope you get the gist. Then the next thing I'm going to be marking is my bust point, which is at 4.5 inches. That's my shoulder measurement divided by 2 plus half inch for ease. So I'm marking at 4.5 inches, which is here. And you remember I said this is for a 2 to 3 year old. Then the next thing I'm going to be marking is my bust measurement divided by 4, which is 5.5 inches. Please do well to measure your child. Then I'm adding extra 1.25 inches. So I'm going to be using half inch to stitch this down, and then the remaining inches will just for ease. It's just for ease. Don't want the style to be very, don't want the child's clothes to be very tight. So that's why I'm adding 1.25 inches. And this, because the waist and the bust are the same, I'm just going to connect this line all the way straight. I don't know how you guys manage nails. I'm struggling with it. God, I beg. So once I'm done with this, I also connect my shoulder measurement coming from the shoulder to the bust. And once I'm done with that, we are going to go ahead and create our armhole. I don't know if we should create it now or should wait until we are done with the neckline before creating this. So anyway, let's cover it. If there's any adjustment, we can easily adjust it. So for the neckline, is a block neckline, and what I'm going to be doing, remember we are going to be stitching here to turn this armhole and also stitching the neckline. So you're going to put both stitching allowance in mind before marking this armhole. So for the armhole, I'm marking at 2.25 inches. So by the time I stitch it down by half inch, it will be here, and then by the time I stitch this by half inch, it will be here. So we have this allowance for our what's it called, for our strap. Let's call it sleeve strap or whatever, or for our sleeve. So I marked at 2.25 inches, and then for the depth, I am marking at 2.25 inches for the width, 2.5 for the depth. I hope it makes sense now, because it seems like I don't know what I am saying now. So I'm going to go ahead and connect this. So by the time we join this or we turn it, it will be about 3 inches for the shoulder, for the neck depth. Please pay attention. I don't know if I'm missing everything up, or I missed it up the first time I said whatever I said. So the width is 2.25, and then the depth is 2.5. So I believe you got it now. Then for the shoulder slope, I am going to go down by half of an inch, and then I'll connect it into the neckline. And then I'm going to add the stitching allowance here, just like I mentioned earlier, which is 1/2 inch, so that I'll be able to stitch the shoulder. Then I'll bring up this neckline. I'll bring it up. So that's basically all for the front. I will be using this to cut the back. So the only difference is the zipper allowance, and also you can also adjust the neck, either coming up a bit or leave it the same way you want it. But just know that if you leave it the same way, it's going to be lower than the front. It's usually lower than the front. So that's why people come up a bit for the back neckline before cutting it out. Do you know that you can cut this style as an off shoulder for this upper side? But I decided not to. So if you want to cut this as an off shoulder, I think I've done a tutorial on this off shoulder side of it. You can as well do that. But for this tutorial, I'm not cutting this as an off shoulder. This is a simpler way of doing this. If you don't want to go through the stress of joining the strap and blah blah blah. So that's why I'm not joining, or I'm not adding any I'm not doing it as an off shoulder. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the back one. Okay guys, so I'm done cutting this, cutting it, and as you can see, my back neckline is higher than the front one. I just decided to do it that way. So I'm going to go ahead, then I cut out, okay, I have the back 2 pieces, the front 2 pieces. I'll be using the same fabric to turn this. If you're the same fabric, you don't have enough fabric for the same, you can buy your lining. Okay, and you can as well pipe the neckline, whichever that you can do. You mustn't use the same fabric to turn the neckline. So I'll go ahead and open up this to the front, and then also this to the front. So you're doing facing front at this point, and then I'm going to go ahead, I'll pin this down afterwards. So I'll stitch this way, stitch this way, and stitch this way, and also stitch the armhole, and then I'll turn it to the right side. Then for the back one as well, I'll separate this. So I have 2 for each side. So I'll stitch this way, and then the neck armhole, I'll also do the same thing for this side, and then the armhole, I'll turn all of them to the right side. Okay guys, I'm done stitching it down. So I'm going to go ahead and make notches around this edge, and also the armhole. Then I'll do something to the front. Then I'll go ahead and turn it to the front. If you have like this side and iron at this point, so all the shoulder areas will be out and laying flat, so I don't have to struggle. But for us, that there's no light at this point, I'm going to continue with the style. So once I am done with this, I'm going to go ahead and place front facing front. Then I'll hold on to the shoulder. Now go ahead and pin it down, and also make sure that your armhole is facing the armhole, neckline is also facing the neckline. Then once we are done, you're going to go ahead and stitch the 2 shoulders. Once I'm done with that, I'll also arrange these 2 seam side, and then I'll stitch it down by 1/2 inch on both sides. Okay guys, this is what we have. Remember, I've not ironed this fabric or this gown at this point. So this is what we have. This is for the back, so this is for the front. You can easily see the front because the back center is still open. So this is what we have. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to bring the skirt part of this, but before then I'm going to fold this into 2 and make notch at the center front. So I'll make notch here at the center front. Then these 2 side seam have given a way. We are going to be using the 2 side seam to know where our notch is supposed to be. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to go ahead and fold the skirt part of it into 4. I'll arrange my pieces well so we have 4 equal parts. So I'll make notch at this center front, and then I'll make another notch here. So at this point as well. So I'll go ahead and open this up So I'll take this center front and then I'll go ahead and place it at this center front here. And then I'll pin it down. I'll pin it down. Then I'll find the other side of the notch I made. I'll pin it at the same side of it, of this gown. And then I'll make notch, I'll find the other notch and place it this way. And then I'll pin it down. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to stitch this down. So this is the easiest way I do my gathers. But if you can't find your way around this, just all you have to do is to gather this skirt part of it to the waist measurement, and then you stop it, you then join it together. Or you can just do this way and then you stitch your zipper allowance, and then you're going to start folding in, like irregular folding in small depending on the amount of fabric that you have. So you fold and you stitch until you get to the end. Okay guys, this is what we have. So I'm done attaching the skirt part of it, the lower part of it. So we're going to go ahead and cut out the white design on it. I don't know what to call it. So I've already cut it out. So how to get your measurement is to measure your round shoulder measurement. I'm going to insert a picture of where you're going to measure. So you're going to measure that, including your your zipper allowance. You're going to add your zipper allowance because this is going to extend into the zipper allowance. Once you get that, you divide it into two. Divide the fabric into two. Remember to add stitching allowance to this place to turn it to the right side. So this place is where there is stitching. We don't need stitching allowance because it's going to be, you have already added the zipper allowance here. So I just hope you guys get this. So remember I said it's into two. You're going to divide this into two. So you pick up one, fold it into two. You're going to stitch this way to this place. So you turn it to the right side from here. So this is going to be your zipper allowance. So you turn it to the right side from here. And you are going to do the same thing for this other side. Okay guys, I forgot to mention that when you measured your round shoulder measurement, you are going to add about 4 to 5 inches extra because of the design at the front. So don't forget that. I forgot to mention this earlier. So once I am done stitching this, I'm going to go ahead and turn this to the right side. So guys, I'm done turning it to the right side. So I'll go ahead and bring in my bodice. I'll open it up this way. So this open part of it, I'm going to go ahead and place it this way, about 1.5 inches away from the stitching line or from the stitch line. I'll go ahead and stitch it down. Once I am done with this side, I'll also go ahead and stitch this other side down at the zipper area. So we are stitching this down at the zipper allowance. So once you are done, you attach your zip, then make a small, the way we have done in my bow tutorial, those small things you use to cover where you have your stitching line on your bow. So you make a small thing and cover it up, and then the excess will now kind of dangling out at the front. I hope you understand, and I will see you in my next video.